Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Bo here from Guitars and Games. I have another little game for you. This one is called Dagon. This is a Cthulhu Lovecraft horror game. Yeah, all the bells and whistles. All the bells and whistles. I hope everybody's doing good today. Thank you all for coming and seeing me. We are running right at around 830 subscribers and 80 hours away from 4,000 hours watch time. Y'all are killing it. Thank you all so much. I hope everybody's doing good, and I hope you're all having fun. But let's get into the game. That's what we want to do. Let's unmute you. There's the ominous music. Let's turn it down a little bit. All right. Let us start. Only previous save I have is just make sure everything run. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here. Movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot. Okay.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
During the game, you will kind of interact on some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others will reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below. Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
He must have witnessed Cthulhu.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Dun dun dun. Uh-oh. Huh, so this is like a point-and-click adventure kind of.
At its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation. So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Interesting. What's this? A boat.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time. When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
That would be freaky to me as hell, to like be on the ocean all alone in a tiny little boat.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Definitely lost at sea.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
This guy has an amazing reading voice. Uh-oh, water's running out.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
Don't stare at the sun, dude. Stop.
The change happened whilst I slept.
Oh, what happened?
Its details I shall never know.
That's how it always goes,
My
doesn't it?
slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
What the hell?
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
Ew.
And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
Horror's more astonishing, yeah. I mean,
For
seriously.
there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
Sounds like you skipped
The
dimension,
region was
buddy.
putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing
That's
down
as
from
freaky
a
as
sky
hell.
which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless quality,
Oh, excuse
as
me.
though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Hey, squishy feet.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Interdimensional clipping. That's what you did.
So
You know
great was
clipped
the
in.
extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Yuck.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
All the wiggling. Aren't they supposed to die by now if you've been in there for hours?
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
Squidgy. It's all
That
squidgy.
night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Vanished sea.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much
I mean, I
concerned
wouldn't
with
really
graver
compare
things
about
to
the
mind
fish,
so
dude.
slight
I
an
mean,
evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Ooh, he stepped on the squid.
All day I forged steadily west.
What the hell are
guided by a
those?
faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
What are those, though? Those look freaky. it's like crab legs. It's like giant crab legs. Oh God, the ocean.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still traveled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
You espied it.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
What is this mountain? This mountain is something.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night. But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
Why? Why don't you? Oh, you're having bad dreams.
To endure again. And in the glow of the moon, I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Yes. You obviously have never traveled in the desert before.
To perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the
Well, don't go up there. This is like an eyeball or something, dude. Like, it's not like a mountain.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me.
Yes.
But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon.
Ooh.
Whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Dude, you're not on Earth anymore, dude. You're somewhere else.
Curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost.
Of course it would.
Of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined. Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Declivity? You don't hear that word too often. Jump on down into pit of evil goo. Ugh.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely
There's a square.
analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps where no light had yet penetrated.
But you see it, right?
At once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
I'm like so nervous, dude. Like I am so
That gleamed
scared. I'm like, my legs are like bouncing. Like gleamed whitely. Ugh.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
No.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not
It's a
altogether
giant
the work of
square
nature.
monolith in the beginning of a valley. It's not.
Closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express. For despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith,
Yes.
whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
Under the sea.
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of
Those
the
who
scientist's
came
or
before.
archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
That's squidgy.
The moon, now
Okay,
near the
don't go
zenith,
near
shone
it.
weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps.
Don't go near it.
In the chasm, and revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith.
This is so making me uncomfortable.
And crude sculptures.
And I'm so uncomfortable. I said it in plural. Don't touch it,
The
dude.
writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books. Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Sea worship.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world.
The dragons, the krakens, the selkies.
But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain.
Whatever that claw thing was, ugh.
It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Is that one there? Dagon themes and storytelling. Okay. Okay.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré.
What's a doré? I don't know what that word
I
means.
think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men. The creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters.
Oh, like mer people.
Grotto.
It's Atlantis.
Homage at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail. The mere remembrance makes me grow faint.
Remembrance of it, my dear. It makes me grow so
Grotesque
faint.
beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shocking.
Oh, the ins and mouse.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background.
What do you mean?
One of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
That's where you're wrong.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size. But in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
No.
Some
They are
tribe whose
real.
last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Alright. Back to this?
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most
No, it's
daring
not. It's not.
anthropologist, I stood
It's not a good
musing
thing,
whilst
dude.
the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Dun dun dun. Uh-oh. It's moving. What's going on?
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
I don't see anything yet. Oh, I didn't hit the button. Sorry. Oh.
Even loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith. About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Oh gosh, what's going on? Oh, I'm getting all woozy.
I went mad then.
Yeah, I bet.
Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff. And of
I'm
my
talking a lot
furious
and being
journey
really
back
kind
to
of
the
goofy
strong
because
boat.
I'm really actually pretty nervous.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Where do I go? There. Let's go. Run back to your ship in the goo.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat.
Yes, I know it's snowing or storming.
At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters in her loudest notes.
Huh. Come on.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
What?
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
That's probably that's probably a good thing actually right now.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew
That's because you
nothing.
wasn't anything because you were in another dimension.
Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Yeah. At that point, dude, you just keep it to yourself, right? I mean, at that point, it's just like, all right, well, until more people come forward, I'm keeping it to myself. Well, I'll just decide to
Once
leave
I
now.
sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Dagon. Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquest. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretations of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones. A humanoid race with fish traits that reside in the ocean, he is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. Okay. Let's go over and look at this.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
That statue's looking at me weird. That bust, carving, sculpture was looking at me weird.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing. I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Yep, Biomorphine will do it to you.
So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
It's sad. Yep.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German men of war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite.
Oh, it's going down.
The day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Oh.
The end is near. I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Squishy. I have to go to the door, okay.
It shall not find me.
You shall not pass!
God, that hand!
The
window! The window!
Ow. My ankles. Oh! Their little pool of cosmic horror, yes. I thought that was quite nice. What'd y'all think? It was a little bit longer and kind of more like a interactive story, really, but it's kind of a short retelling of the Edgar or the H.P. Lovecraft short story. But I thought that was kind of cool. I hope you all liked it. I am going to let you all go. You have a great day. I will see you all soon. Hope everybody has fun. Take it easy. Bye-bye.